Hey, what's happening, guys? Hope your day is going well and you're all happy. Just taking massive 3 a.m. shits that make your stomach feel like World War II just ended. I'm sure having a good day. I just realized you have to pay for groceries. I've been stealing them. But anyway, me and my friends were talking about how America has a pretty big problem. Besides, racism, crime, debt, politics, we have a pretty big-ass situation. Our education system. I have had the unfortunate privilege of being a part of it, and I can surely tell you we have a pretty decent problem. I went to preschool, then kindergarten through 8th grade, then high school, and now college. And I can tell you one thing for certain, it sucks. There's more than just one problem, there's multiple. Whether it's the teachers, the funding, what they're teaching you, I cannot explain why the richest country in the world, and I mean that the richest country in the world, treats education like the I stepped in, wiped off and forgotten about. Me and my friends were having a good night, so I spent all of my thinking power on the topic, but I'll try to go ahead and recreate what I was saying. So in terms of the teaching, holy you really do be on scraping the barrel of the conscription laws. I swear, all of my teachers are surely trying to get fired for how terrible they're doing. The thing is, in my state of Arizona, you need a degree, of course, like every other place should. I think that should just be common practice. But the thing is, you don't need one for the subject that you're teaching. You could have a degree in sexual education, and they'd put you in culinary. It makes zero sense. Obviously, they don't do that in college, because if they did, I would blow somebody. Yeah, I know what I said. And I'm about as straight as the Axum stick. But for things like high school, elementary, and middle school, you kind of want to have teachers that, know what they're doing. Yeah, you want that in college too, but the thing is, you can't get into college if you don't know how to multiply because Miss Samantha was drunk off her rocker from the tequila from last night's party. I had a dude who had little math experience because he was a squad leader in the military. Sure, the guy was an absolute Chad. I love him. I have his gamer tag. But you see what I mean? Teachers that teach a subject but they have little to no experience, they only want them in that position because they have a piece of paper that says, hey, you graduated college. I also had a teacher who taught science, but she had a degree in literature. I had to read out of a book. I had to teach myself. If I'm teaching myself in the 8th grade, we got ourselves a problem. Now, of course, I had a lot of teachers that also studied what they were learning to teach. Like, I had a master's degree teaching me English. She had a degree in English. I'm not even blaming those teachers that don't teach what they're supposed to. It's not their fault. It's the school's fault. In college, you have to teach what you're supposed to. It's what it should be. So why isn't that the norm for all schools? In preschool, I don't want to be taught by someone who smokes before school. In elementary school, I don't want to be taught by someone who sells candy to me on the street before class. It was a pretty good lollipop, though. One of those gummy ones in the center that you chew on and for a couple days. The good shit. But seriously, why can't we have that for all schools in America? Or at least do a test to see if they're qualified for the job you're giving them besides an interview and just knowing that they have a degree in something. I'm not sure if you guys have the same thing with your teachers when they leave for a day or two for what they call training. I'm not sure what they go to train for, but it's probably to learn about the fact that they drank some weird coffee in the morning or shit that I just don't care about. I'm here to learn, homie. Again, a lot of my teachers are pretty cool. Just the fact that this country doesn't care about who's teaching what is a few of the many problems that it has with its education system. And the funding for it, I get it. States have their own way to fund for education because, states' rights. But between you and me, I'm pretty sure we could say the Constitution for this one little thing. Because you have states like Massachusetts where they fund the shit out of their schools and get things like Harvard. And where I used to live in Maine, where every single student got their own laptops and their own buddy for all I care. Then you get a state like Arizona, where we have uniforms, but you have to pay for days where you can wear whatever you want. We didn't do that in my high school, though. But you know what we did have to use? We had to use these dirty-ass Chromebooks that we shared around like some sex doll or something. I bet other states do that too, but for spending billions of dollars on our military every year to do, in essence, sit and do nothing in places like Iraq, while we got states whose best chance of education is learning from a cat mom and getting school lunches that consist of a potato and some dog nuts. In a time in this country where people are getting pretty antsy and they're starting to riot, everywhere, why aren't we fighting for better education for all states to at least have some equal ground so everybody gets the same amount of education, but it's got to be, good education. We have to figure out a way to equalize our states. Like here in Arizona, we had a quote-unquote teacher walkout where a lot of teachers wore red. That's why they called red for ed, red for education. They walked out for about a couple days, and then they just gave up because the members of the House in this, or the senators and the governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, just decided to take a vacation. So the teachers are like, let's just give up. If you're that serious about education and getting funding and higher salaries for yourself, why would you give up? You got to keep going. You can't just stop when people stop listening to you. Be like, we tried. No, you keep going. It's almost like people don't want higher education, but they sit and bitch about it every day. But then when they actually try something, they just stop because, I'm tired. Maybe we can try to figure out a way to equalize education, bring Arizona up to a standard of the middle of the country's education, at least not the bare minimum, because we're getting the bare minimum, but we need to get more than that. For a country that prides itself on everything, you think that maybe we should spend just a little more money on things like school, education, transportation, things like that, instead of the military and other countries. That's just my 2 cents on it, at least. See, here in Arizona, we care more about our prisoners than we do our education system. See, here in Arizona, we spend about 54.7% of our available money on instruction, which is like education and things like that, which is 6 percentage points below the national average of 60. Why is that not like a basic rule for all of states to at least spend the national average on their education? Why do states have the right to spend however much they want on education when in all reality it's not really a thing that they should have control over? I think it should be a federal decision to choose on how much states spend on their education, because some governors don't give a shit about education. Some governors care about the fish market more than they do education or things like that. And apparently over here in Arizona, like I said, we care more about our prisoners. Doing some quick math here on prison population, we have about 42,000 prisoners roughly in Arizona, and we spend about $25,000 on each prisoner. So if you multiply those, that's about $1 billion that we spend on people who murder, and because of that, we rank almost dead last in the nation per pupil spending, which is spending on each kid or whoever goes to school. Now, this was back in 2019. It has gotten a little better. We're spending more on schools than we ever have, but it doesn't really matter, because why the hell does it take multiple teacher walkouts and many people to complain about it until finally our state legislation decides, you know what, education's pretty important. I think, a nation like Finland, whose GDP roughly $270 billion, compared to the U.S.'s $21.4 trillion, should not be beating us on the more educated country. We still have so many people in poverty, and they can't afford to go to school because our nation's like, $200 per textbook, please. Of course we're going to have poverty. I'm not saying, we wouldn't have poverty if we had education, but it would help if college was, not $20,000 a semester. And actually, my economics teacher back in high school told me it should not be that high. Its inflation rose by 50,000%, something like that. Why? Why are we not taking care of this? Student loan debt is ravaging this country. Most people who are 40 to 50 are still trying to pay that off when they should be retired, living their best life. But no, they still got to pay off their gender studies class that they took back in 1963. Seriously blows my mind that not more people are upset about this. We are in the shit when it comes to teaching our children, man. We just don't care. It's because this country is run by a bunch of old who care nothing about how much money they have in their pocket besides how much money I have in my pocket. I need the bread, Biden. I need the bread. I just want to buy some anime, bitches, and get a decent job as a programmer. Is that too much to ask? I don't know. You guys might not agree with me on this, but that's just my 2 cents. I just really think for, like I said, just the richest country in the world. And it's not even close either. The next country is China, and we have 7 trillion more than they do. If we took 1 trillion of that money and put it into our education, you know how smart we'd be? We'd all be big brain, big dick, big pussy, whatever you got. I'm not judging. We're in 2021. Don't you think maybe if we actually put our money to use, that we actually, might be smart, that we just might, have a brain. But whatever, that's just my 2 cents on it. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. And I also like to appreciate you guys just listening to me rambling on about random topics, because I love doing that. A lot of people do it, but hey, who the cares? It's what I want to do. So if you guys think that we should improve our education system, please say down in the comments below. I want to hear what you guys think, just so I don't sound like a dumbass here. But anyway, again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. My media is down in the description along with my second channel. And y'all have yourselves a good one.